Welcome, administrators and leaders in education. Imagine you are piloting a ship through turbulent waters. Each decision you make sets the course for everyone on board, students, faculty, and staff alike. In many ways, steering an educational institution is no different. The ship may be metaphorical, but the responsibilities are just as tangible and the decisions just as important. The goal of this video is to introduce the structure of meetings and your responsibilities as the meeting's presiding officer, be it school boards, faculty meetings, or any committee you are part of. This is not just about ticking boxes or following formalities. It's about creating an environment of fairness, inclusion, as well as efficient and effective decision-making. By the end of this video, you will not only understand Robert's rules, but also appreciate how they can be leveraged as a strategic asset in your leadership toolkit. Let's start with the structure of a meeting. The meeting begins when the chair formally announces the start. This sets the tone and signals everyone to focus. The meeting is typically called to order by the chair or the person presiding over the meeting. This person is often elected or appointed to oversee the meeting's procedures and to ensure that the rules of conduct. In some cases, the chair may also be the president or CEO of an organization or another high-ranking official designated for this role. In both school board meetings and board of trustees meetings, the individual who calls the meeting to order is usually the chair or the chairperson of the board. This person has been elected or appointed to lead the board and oversee the meeting proceedings. In the absence of the chair, the vice chair or another designated officer may call the meeting to order. The role of the chair in those settings is critical, as they are responsible for ensuring that the meeting adheres to the established agenda and follows the rules of order, often guided by Robert's Rule of Order or a similar parliamentary procedure. They also manage the flow of discussion, recognize speakers, and facilitate voting on motions or resolutions. When the chair calls the meeting to order, it signals the formal start of the proceedings and helps set the tone for a focused and organized discussion. It's like a conductor raising their baton to start a symphony. It directs everyone's attention to the matter at hand and establishes a sense of formality and purpose. Calling a meeting to order is not just a formality. It's your opportunity to set the stage for focused and conductive dialogue. A simple but firm "the meeting will come to order" can dramatically enhance the meeting's tone and everyone's attention span. A casual tone like, "So, what are we talking about today?" may feel relaxed and open, but it may suggest that the meeting has not set a focused agenda, making it easier for the meeting to drift off topic. After calling a meeting to order, you conduct a roll call. This is the process of confirming who is present. It's critical for determining if a quorum exists, which is necessary for any official business to occur. Think of roll call as a head count before embarking on a field trip. You wouldn't want to leave without knowing who is on board, right? The same principle applies here. A roll call ensures that enough members are present to make legally binding decisions. An urgent meeting to discuss budget allocations could end up invalid if you proceed without establishing a quorum, costing you valuable time later. You, as the chair or presiding officer, can say, "We'll now proceed with the roll call to establish the presence of a quorum. When your name is called, please respond with present." The secretary or another designated person will then read the names of all members eligible to be at the meeting. Each member responds, usually with present, to indicate they are in attendance. Calling out everyone's name is not the only way to conduct a roll call. You can use other methods based on the meeting's formality. size, and specific requirements. For example, for a smaller or less formal meeting, you can provide a sign-in sheet. You can also visually confirm that a quorum is present, especially if the attendees are well known to each other. After the roll call is complete, you announce whether a quorum is present. You can say, "The roll call shows that we have 11 members at present, which constitutes a quorum according to our bylaws. We can now proceed with the meeting's agenda." Here are 2 questions. First, what to do if a quorum is not present? Second, if a member leaves in the middle of the meeting, are they still counted as part of the quorum for subsequent votes? I'll discuss the answers to those 2 questions in a different video. Now let's come back to the roll call. After a roll call, the minutes from the last meeting are reviewed for accuracy. Any corrections should be noted and approved by the assembly. Approved meeting minutes serve as the official record of decisions made, actions taken, and who was responsible for what. This adds a level of legal protection and accountability to organizational actions. Here is a scenario. In a highly charged meeting, Joe, a senior member with considerable influence, erupts into a tirade. His face flushed with emotions, he shouts over everyone else, pounds the table to emphasize his points, and even slams the door as he exits and re-enters the room. The atmosphere is thick with tension. In the midst of this heated debate, he levels an unsubstantiated and explosive accusation against Jane, a less senior member. Then, leveraging his seniority and rank, Joe threatens to retaliate against Jane in a manner that sends a chill down the spine of everyone present. Joe's accusation resulted in a motion and was documented in the meeting minutes. Fast forward to the next meeting. The air still heavy from the last confrontation. As the meeting minutes are up for approval, Joe audaciously requests that all content unfavorable to him be expunged from the official record. As the presiding officer, you now find yourself at the crossroads of governance, ethics, and leadership. What would you do? Here are some suggestions how you can navigate this situation. First, consult bylaws. Always refer to bylaws or standing rules set forth in your organization. Make sure your decisions align with those documents. Second, request for motion. If Joe wishes to amend the minutes, he must follow formal procedures by making a motion to do so. This motion will need to be seconded and opened up for debate. If no one seconds Joe's motion to amend the meeting minutes, then the motion fails and does not proceed to debate or a vote. In parliamentary terms, the motion dies for lack of a second. As a presiding officer, you typically announce that the motion has failed due to a lack of a second. This is often an indicator of the assembly's collective sentiment about a particular motion. In this case, it suggests that the assembly may not agree with Joe's request to amend the meeting minutes. The original version of the meeting minutes would remain intact, maintaining the integrity of the documented events. The meeting would then move on to the next agenda item or order of business, essentially bypassing Joe's request. If Joe's motion is seconded, the motion to amend the meeting minutes enters the debate phase. Joe can articulate why he wants the record changed, and other members can weigh in with their views. During the debate, a few questions can be raised. First, question of factual accuracy. Given that Joe's actions in the previous meeting were witnessed by multiple members, the question raises, is his request for deletion in line with maintaining a factual and transparent record? Make sure that the meeting does not contain opinions or character judgment. Use any recordings or supplementary materials from the meeting to verify the accuracy of contested information. Second, legal advisory. In light of Joe's hostile actions and threats, consulting legal counsel may be prudent to evaluate any liability risk to the organization and its members. Joe's aggressive behavior and threats could pose legal risk for the organization, including workplace harassment claims, emotional distress, or even a hostile work environment. Consulting with an attorney helps in understanding those risks and how to mitigate them. The organization may have special legal obligations to its members, including providing a safe and respectful work environment. Failure to address misconduct may be viewed as negligence on the part of the organization or its leadership. Third, member rights. As the presiding officer of the meeting, you must also consider Jane's rights. As a member of the assembly, Jane has the same right as Joe to fair treatment, regardless of rank or seniority. You, as the presiding officer, should not favor one member over another in the procedural matters. It is also the right of every member, not just Jane or Joe, to have access to accurate and transparent records of meetings. This ensures that everyone is on the same page and that there is a clear understanding of what happened. If Joe's contentious amendment is put to a vote, the result of that vote, including how individual members voted, if that's your organization's custom, becomes part of the official meetings, providing transparency. In the United States, the school board meeting minutes and board of trustees meeting minutes are generally considered public records and are subject to Public Records Acts, such as Freedom of Information Act at the federal level and the state level public record laws. The meeting minutes must be made available to the public upon request. Parents, community members, and the press have the right to request and review them. Always remember, your role as a presiding officer is to ensure that meetings run smoothly and respectfully, despite underlying tension or past hostilities. While you may have personal opinions about the situation, your role requires you to facilitate the meeting in an unbiased manner. You are the guardian of the meeting's integrity and should uphold the rules and bylaws that govern your organization. Each step you take will set a precedent for future interactions, making your actions crucial for long-term health of the organization. In the phase of reports of meetings, committees or people with particular responsibilities present their findings, updates, and new initiatives like curriculum reform, hiring, or building maintenance. This is your roadmap for what is happening in different sectors of your organization. Committee reports are an integral part of organizational decision-making, but they sometimes consume too much time and divert focus. Emailing the reports ahead of time can help to significantly reduce the meeting's duration, leaving more time for decision-making and discussion on urgent matters. If you decide to do so as a committee member doing the reporting, you can use bullet points, bold text, or color coding to draw attention to critical areas or questions that will require discussion during the meeting. You can request a read receipt or a quick acknowledgement from recipients to ensure that the report has been reviewed. Set a deadline for when the report should be read and when questions should be submitted. In the meeting, you can address any questions or to provide a quick summary. One thing you need to consider is security. Emailing sensitive information may pose a security risk, depending on the confidentiality of the reports and the security measure in place. Use a secure encrypted email or a secure document sharing service for sensitive or confidential information. Main motions are heart of your meeting, the reason everyone has gathered. Whether it's a proposal to update the bylaws or to allocate funds for a new gym, these are the matters requiring a decision. Each motion is an action item and the core subject for debate and voting. I'll discuss motions, discussion and debate, and voting in detail in different videos. Once all items on the agenda have been addressed, you, as the presiding officer, will formally close the meeting. You should acknowledge contributions and thank members for their time and input by saying, "I'd like to thank everyone for your contribution today, especially those who presented reports and led discussions." Please ensure that all action items are completed before our next meeting on January 27, 2024. The agenda for the next meeting will be circulated 1 week in advance. You then ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting. You can say, "Can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?" Once the motion is moved, seconded, and approved, you make a formal statement to adjourn, such as, "The motion is passed. This meeting is officially adjourned. Thank you everyone for your time and efforts. Have a good day." In meetings, you have 3 primary responsibilities as the presiding officer. First, facilitating discussion. Your role is not merely administrative, it's also to facilitate meaningful, inclusive dialogue among members. You have to ensure that discussions remain focused and that every member has an equal opportunity to contribute. You can say, "Before we vote on the budget increase, I want to make sure everyone has had a chance to speak. Does anyone else wish to share their thoughts?" What you should not do is to say, "Well, we've heard the Finance Committee, let's vote." By doing so, you fail to open the floor for general member input, which can lead to unexplored perspectives and potential resentment among members. Your second primary responsibility is time management. Time is a finite resource. As the presiding officer, you must ensure that every agenda item gets the time it deserves, but without allowing any single topic to derail the meeting. You can say, "We've spent 20 minutes on this topic already. Let's try to wrap it up in the next 10 minutes. Allow a discussion to go on indefinitely can lead to fatigue, diminished focus, and less time for other important items. Your third primary responsibility is maintaining order. A deliberative assembly relies on decorum and respect. Interruptions, personal attacks, or straying from the topic at hand can disrupt the meeting's flow and effectiveness. If 2 members are engaged in a heated, off-topic exchange, you can intervene by saying, "I understand this is a contentious issue, but let's steer back to the agenda item we're discussing." Failure to intervene when a discussion becomes a personal vendetta not only influences that meeting, but also sets a poor precedent for future interactions. To conduct business effectively in a deliberative assembly, it's important to understand the structure of meetings for call to order, roll call, approval of previous meeting minutes, reports, main motions, discussion and debate, voting, to closing and adjournment. You, as the presiding officer, are not just a facilitator, but also the guardian of the meeting's integrity. Your ability to manage time, uphold rules, and create meaningful dialogue will directly influence the effectiveness of your assembly's decision-making process and decision quality. Remember, well-executed meetings are not just a procedural necessity, but a strategic tool that can drive change, nurture cohesion, and lead to informed decisions. Hope you'll be more effective in leading your meetings toward constructive discussion and productive outcomes.